Fireworks explode on the floor of a congressional hearing today as a Republican congressman from Texas. Why is it always Texas? Well, a Republican congressman from Texas gets into a shouting match with the acting director of the Secret Service, Ronald Rowe Jr. I'm going to show that video in just a moment. But first, I want to warn everyone. The shouting match is not the story. It's just another Republican distraction to disguise the real agenda, a very dangerous agenda that we know is Project 2025. Now, your first clue that this is just another Republican sideshow with a dangerous hidden agenda is that the reason for the hearing is to investigate what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania this summer when an alleged gunman theoretically fired a rifle at Donald Trump. Republicans are adamant that the Secret Service be publicly flogged and humiliated. Don't be surprised if Butler ends up with more hearings than Benghazi. But as today's hearing shows, there's a more sinister agenda going on here. Watch this clip.
And that's what I'm getting at with being proactive and showing leadership is we know for a fact that there was no CSU in Butler. Was there a full CAT team there?
There was not.
No. A full CAT team, 6 members, and there were 2 there. So you knew of the threat. You didn't disseminate to the field and protective details. President Trump didn't have a protection that was akin to a sitting president. He didn't have the CSU. He had only the third of the CAT team. So that's that kind of ineptitude and inaction and complacency and neglect that really, quite frankly, is as telling as it is chilling.
So, okay, that seems like your standard dressing down by a showboating member of Congress. Very clear criticism of the acting director and his team. And you could write it off as just showboating, just trying to make points with the supporters at home. But then the congressman turns and shows this.
There was a massive appropriations request. We know that you have 8,000 employees. We know that they have a $3.1 billion budget, and you asked for $2 billion additional dollars. What sticks in our craw is when we report to our constituents, we have to say, hey, this federal agency failed epically, and then they wanted to almost double their budget. How much would it have cost to put somebody on that water tower? How much would it have cost to have drones that were actually functioning that day? How much would it have cost to have an ether cable to where your anti-drone technology would have worked? How much would it have cost to do a walkthrough with local law enforcement to secure the AGR site, or put cameras on that roof, or put agents on that roof, or have your snipers have iPads, or have 1 command post instead of 2, or cordon off the damn AGR complex, 17 acres? That would have cost $2 billion. And in fact, with caution tape, signs, posts, and stakes, it would have run about $410 because we ran through it. Let's add another zero. Say it's $4,000. It's not $2 billion.
Now, anytime a Republican is complaining about the budget for law enforcement, you should be very suspicious. Republicans simply can't throw enough money at law enforcement and the military. Yet this guy is complaining that the Secret Service budget has gone up, and then demonstrates how he could have done a better job with less. Something is definitely up here. There is a different agenda going on. And Representative Mark Green from Tennessee starts to reveal what that agenda is. Listen to what Green says.
Lack of attention to details, lack of sense of urgency, complacency. I mean, these are leadership. These are command climate issues. What is the command climate of the Secret Service? That's the thing that concerns me the most. But your guys showed up that day and didn't give a shit. There was apathy and complacency, period. And that's your mission now. I appreciate all the systems and the technology that everybody else has asked about. But this is a leadership issue. This is a command climate issue, a culture issue.
So here we have the repetition of criticism of leadership and institutional culture. Precisely what the Republicans are pushing here is a theme that federal law enforcement agencies need to be gutted. And why do they need to be gutted? Because their culture and leadership is so inept that no one is safe anymore, and the leadership and culture has to be tossed out. They start by making the case with the Secret Service, and then they're going to move that show to the FBI and then on to the military. These places will be gutted and then replaced with Trump loyalists. And that's the ironic thing about the shouting match. It really had little to do with the agenda the Republicans were pushing. The shouting match started because the congressman from Tennessee was pursuing his leadership is incompetent theme by showing a photo of Rowe at the 9/11 memorial event that he attended as part of Biden and Harris's protection detail. The representative from Tennessee was showing the photo to say that Rowe was breaking protocol, further evidence that Rowe is incompetent and needs to be purged. Rowe was not having it, and so this erupted. Watch.
Were you the special agent in charge of the detail that day?
Actually, let me address this. Could you please, staff, leave that? Oh, no, leave that one up with the circle around me. Thank you. So actually, Congressman, what you're not seeing is the sack of the detail out of the picture's view. And that is the day where we remember the more than 3,000 people that have died on 9/11. I actually responded to Ground Zero. I was there going through the ashes of the World Trade Center. I was there at Fresh Kills.
I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you,
Congressman.
were you the special agent in charge?
To show respect
You were not.
for a Secret
That's
Service
a bunch of
member
horse hockey.
that died on 9/11.
That you're trying to be.
Do not invoke 9/11 for political purposes.
Oh, I'm not. I'm invoking this.
You are, sir.
Gentlemen,
And you are out of line.
I would like to ask him a question.
Please. You are out of line, Congressman.
So knowing what we know here about the secret agenda being pushed, here is the lesson we can learn from this shouting match. Republicans are trying to push their 2025 agenda and will tear down anyone who will serve that purpose. Today, it was Rowe. Tomorrow, it will be someone else. Rowe, however, wasn't putting up with it. He stood his ground and blew the whole thing up. Now, admittedly, Rowe was standing up for himself and his own reputation. But if everyone could bring that kind of ferocity to the enforcement of Project 2025, then it will never get off the ground. We've all got to fight like hell. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.